What's happening, people, and welcome back to Wilds Up TV, where we're breaking down the promotion relegation match in the Pacific Championships between the Kiwis and PNG KUMULS. Look, it was a great game, and I enjoyed seeing SJ go out on a high, and a lot to take from it in terms of developing players. I want to break that down pretty quickly, but please, guys, give a like and subscribe to Wilds Up TV for we've got international recap coming up this week, and also, obviously moving forward for all Warriors fans, we're going to be covering a lot of the Warriors and the NRL. But on this game, look, I thought it was great to see SJ get his final farewell. Unfortunate that it wasn't in a final, but ultimately you think it was great to see the man and his skill set one more time on the field. Privileged to see him pull out all the tricks, all the varieties of things that Sean is so good at, finally fall into place for the Kiwis. But based on this game, I mean, it was kind of really tight at the start. You could argue that PNG were all over them for a period there where they could have piled on some more points. Unfortunate that they didn't. But the Kiwis' first try was beautiful. The cutout pass by CNK that shows that maybe Warriors fans, there is an option there. Personally, I don't quite see it yet as a 5'8" for CNK, although he did a nice cutout pass to McLean and a left-footed kick, which I was not expecting. Pretty sure it was left-footed over the top, so there may be an argument that CNK is in the mix, and that's something to think about over the off-season. But it was a great start. Some tries, some two good early tries, and then PNG kind of found their feet a little bit. And I want to credit to PNG. I think, like I've said, they're probably around the sixth best team in the world at the moment. I mean, they are a team that obviously doesn't have a super high number in the NRL, a little bit in the Super League. The NRL want to expand into PNG, which you could say in 10 to 20 years' time. If you pick the national team from an NRL, from PNG with the population size it has, with the development, with all those things, then yeah, it's going to be a threat in the future. But as for now, they're a good little side that punch, I suppose, above their weight. And for periods there, they showed that they could hang in with some of the best teams in the world, which would argue that with a bit more development, PNG can be a force in the future. But again, I think that if we're going to look at Pacific Championships, that PNG should get a shot at playing a Kiwis, a Tonga, Samoa, even a Kangaroos a little bit more often. I think that lower bowl, they're obviously clearing above at the moment of Fiji and Cook Islands, but it was great to see them get at least a chance, and they showed a lot of promise early on and potential that with a few just better quality players, that they're not far off. And I think Dimitri, if he carries on to their coach to the World Cup, they'll have a good showing, in my opinion. But yeah, as for the Kiwis, they started to claw it back in the second half. I mean, there was 10-6, I think, at halftime. So there was a lot to do, and even myself at halftime, I was thinking, wow, if Stacey doesn't get this one over the line, it's going to be a long off season for him. But I was pleased to see the fight back in the second half. We got some really beautiful tries, well structured. Sean just started to dictate the pace of the game, really picked up, and then Sean just put it on a dime. There was one kick to the corner for across, like a back against the grain almost, to Casey McLean, who picked it up and went over. Casey McLean, I wasn't sure if it was first half or second, but he got the ball on the outside, and it was pretty much on the stroke of half time, where that's kind of where the game kind of flipped. Sorry, I did get my score wrong. It wasn't 10-6 at halftime, but I think it was 20-something at halftime. But that try was really important. Casey McLean, with the smallest of space, had bumped outside and fended and got CNK over the line. And the same for second half. Casey McLean got a beautiful cutout from Sean. The kick over the top was another one. I think he ended up with four tries or so. I'm gonna talk about him pretty soon. And then some nice other tries down the other side. Isako got a nice, beautiful kick from Sean. Finished that well. And Fahu White went through. And I think it finished off with maybe a Isako try on a break down the right side. So they were really well-structured tries. Again, would have loved to have seen that last week, or even this week. And if it wasn't to be a final against the Kangaroos, it's unfortunate. But it felt like, though, that the team has started to click. I thought Phoenix Crossland's service was a lot sharper. The halves were linking up a lot better. I thought Kenny was absolutely awesome. The speed, it's going to be devastating moving forward. I mean, I think it will always be a liability, the physicality defensively for Kenny, but that speed that you can tap into could really turn our team into an attacking force in the future, and I'd be interested to see how he goes. But I thought overall for Kenny, he had a mixed series, but if you weigh up off that last performance, you're thinking this kid is definitely one to build around in the future. Again, I thought Peter Hiku had a much solid series, and Tomoko I thought kind of rounded out a little bit better, had his moments, but definitely a series for him to forget. But I just want to touch on Casey McLean. Casey McLean was one when I saw him listed in the Kiwi squad, I was thinking this is a kid that I even thought he should have gotten a start over Hiku. Now I probably think now it'd probably be Tomoko, but I thought he deserved the spot to kind of if this series was going to be about moving into the future, then Casey McLean would be that guy. Now to see him debut and get his jersey and represented from his family, absolutely awesome. But to see what he actually did with the ball was absolutely great. And I'll just quickly touch on how the Warriors play, and I thought Casey showed a great example of what the Warriors need to do next year. Is that Sean, you could see that Casey was playing a lot wide, holding his width and his timing of his run, which left him a lot more flatter on the line. Sean could pick out that cutout pass, whereas typically with Webby's system and how our backs, our wingers are sitting, they sit so far deep, there isn't a dummy and cutout over the top. So it's good to see someone finally holding their width, holding their line. I mean, his positional play I thought was excellent on the wing, and I think he's a natural centre. So there's a bright future for us as Kiwis fans that this kid will be one of the stars moving forward. His running technique and style, it's very explosive and kind of compact, and his footwork you can see is very, very sharp. Has nice little foot movement that just tells you that this kid's going to be a future star. His awareness is great. Again, like positional awareness, the kick that Sean put in for him, the little break they went down the sideline, knowing how much room he had to move in if it was a quick move and then a fend, got that over the line. So there was heaps of little things that I loved about this kid. Probably, he needs time to develop. Obviously, he's probably some defensive issues, a few things that he needs to work on. But ultimately, you're thinking, man, that's exactly what we need at the Warriors. That type of an outside back that is explosive. His positional awareness is great. His movements are sharp. His 40 Nelson knowledge looks really good as well. So those are some of the things that just blew me away to see how good this kid is. So I'm looking forward to that as a fan in the future. I'm going to give a shout out to Griffin Neem. I thought he was great in this series. I think he's been awesome. Now Fahu White, again, another one that I really enjoyed. Fisher Harris probably didn't have his best series, and even as a captain, didn't look amazing, and probably you could argue, say, he needs an off-season. It's been a long year. Tapine, he was good, had his moments as well. I thought Aaron Clark, again, as a Warriors fan, I'm excited to see Aaron. I thought Aaron came and lifted the team up, got that attack moving a lot better, and you can see him as a ball-playing lock option at times. He's got nice little tip-ons, nice little plays. I thought he should have probably gotten a shot earlier in the series. Again, I didn't agree with a lot of Stacey's selections, but Aaron would have been that type of utility that you could have brought on as a prop and also as a kind of a lock to kind of straighten your attack out a bit at times. But ultimately I thought it was a nice end to a really poor series. And, as a Kiwis fan, all I can take from that is that, we didn't get relegated, thankfully. PNG, again, they got potential, but they're not, putting 54 points on them isn't kind of unexpected. It is what you would expect. So not to disrespect PNG, I do respect them, but from a Kiwis level, that's kind of the scoreline you want to be putting on them. And then it was just too little too late, and it comes back to costly errors made against Tonga, who, again, I'm not taking away from Tonga. I thought they were rightful finalists, and I think the best two teams actually played. The best two teams in the tournament actually played in the final, which is what you want. But I can only take solace out of seeing some of the potential for the future. Keanu Kinney, Casey McLean, Crossland, I thought, did pretty good. He's not obviously got. I think you still build with JMK as the future hooker. We've yet to see him as he's not healthy. But I think Phoenix did more than what he was capable of. The back row this series probably wasn't the best. Papali'i, although was good, didn't give us a lot at times. So some of our, you can tell Sorensen wasn't quite the best he is. He's probably a better impact off the bench back row type guy. But anyway, at the end of the day, we got to see Sean go out on a high. The last time we are going to see it, so I'm proud of what he was able to achieve, and wish we had seen it in the final. But yeah, just quickly, last point I want to make about Stacey. Yeah, I'm not convinced yet, and I'm kind of the mindset that we need to really, as an NZRL, I think we should be looking at hiring the best coaches. Now, that performance there does a little bit to keep me on board. But it doesn't convince me that Stacey is the right guy moving forward. Now, I know we'll probably give him one more shot next year to, really look at how he goes against Tonga and Samoa. Hopefully with his best available squad, which will give us a better indication of what he's able to do. Now, that attack did start to shapen up a little bit better. And so I'm a little bit positive, but at the same time, under the pressure against Tonga and the Kangaroos, he did fall short. Now, that's not like it hasn't happened to anyone. Kearney happened to Kearney a number of times. Kidwell, even Madge had his fault. Like, people forget that 2022 World Cup, barring the last game against the Kangaroos in semi-finals, we scraped through desperately that World Cup. It wasn't a great performing World Cup, so Madge doesn't fully get off the hook. It wasn't like he was this perfect coach either. I think every coach that has taken the Kiwis have struggled to get the best out of them. But again, I would argue that for me, I would love to see the best coach out there that can get the best out of the Kiwis. If that was going to be Wayne Bennett, I'm more for Wayne Bennett. Maybe that ship has sailed. Okay, but Stacey needs to show me that he can take this team to a next level. At the moment, I can't quite see that, although I'm kind of a little bit happy by that performance. So, yes, kind of a sad end to the season, especially for a Warriors fan, a Kiwis fan. But there are some bright hopes, and if you are going to have a down year, at least you want to see some young talent coming through. Casey McLean is one, Keanu Kinney is one. Phoenix Crossland got in, and you were thinking, okay, he can be a good depth guy in the future. Nafahu White kind of cemented himself as a genuine starting 17 guy. Griffin Neem showed me more than what I've seen, and he lifted to another gear, I believe. So there are positives, but you hopefully want to see that next year in the Pacific Championships next year. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit us a like and subscribe to Wise Up TV. Enjoy the rest of your off season. Take care, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.